Hey y'all, here's another lesson brought to you by the Dewey's Island Conservancy. Saturday was National Horseshoe Crab Day, so it's only appropriate to dedicate this week's lesson to the wonderful Atlantic horseshoe crab. Also, there's been a lot of talk in the news about how important horseshoe crabs are in the development of a vaccine for coronavirus, so stay tuned if you want to find out why. So, what are horseshoe crabs? They're actually not a crab at all, but are more closely related to arachnids like spiders and scorpions. These non-crab crabs have three main sections: their prosoma, aka the horseshoe-shaped head, the opisthoma, and the telson, aka their tail. Even though it looks like a dagger, the tail is harmless, but serves a very important purpose for the horseshoe crabs. It helps them flip over if they're knocked upside down. Like this one here. You can see that they have 10 legs and gills, which allow them to breathe underwater. Since they don't have any teeth, they crush their food with their legs before passing it to their mouth, which is located in the center of their legs. They are omnivores, so their food includes things like clams, snails, and algae. You may have noticed their lateral eyes that are located on their prosoma, which they use to find mates. However, they have 10 eyes total. 7 are on top of their head, and 2 are underneath to help them when they swim, since they swim upside down. They also have photoreceptors on their tail which detect moonlight. This is how they know to spawn during the highest tides, which occur on full and new moons during the months of May and June. On average, one female will lay clusters of 5,000 eggs and around 20,000 eggs throughout the night. During the entire spawning season, one female will lay around 100,000 eggs. Here are some more fun facts. There are 4 existing species of horseshoe crab, and 3 of them live in Southeast Asia. They live 20 to 40 years, and as they grow, they molt up to 17 times before reaching maturity at age 10. That's why you find so many empty horseshoe crab shells at the beach. Also, people call horseshoe crabs living fossils because they appear in the fossil record 450 million years ago and have barely changed since then. They were on Earth 100 million years before the first trees and 200 million years before the first dinosaurs. So, how have horseshoe crabs survived mass extinctions and outlived other organisms for millions of years? And why are they essential in finding a vaccine for coronavirus? Are they magic? Well, the magic lies in their blood. First of all, horseshoe crab blood is blue. That's because, unlike humans who have hemoglobin in their blood to carry oxygen, horseshoe crabs have hemocyanin, which contains copper, causing the blue coloration. Horseshoe crabs also don't have an immune system like humans do to fight off bacteria, viruses, and fungi. Instead, their blood contains this substance called limulus amoebocyte lysate, or LAL, which reacts to toxins by clotting. In other words, when a bacteria, virus, or fungi enters the bloodstream, the lysate surrounds the toxins so that they cannot spread and cause infections. This amazing property is just one of the qualities that have allowed horseshoe crabs to persist relatively unchanged for millions of years. But what does this have to do with coronavirus? Well, humans use the LAL from horseshoe crab blood to test vaccines and medicines to make sure they aren't contaminated with harmful toxins before they enter the bloodstream. If they are contaminated, the LAL will cause the substance to clot and the vaccine or medicine will not be distributed. If they aren't contaminated, they're sent out to be used by doctors and nurses. If you've ever had a vaccine or medicine injected into your bloodstream, like the annual flu shot, then you've benefited from horseshoe crabs, because without the LAL test, you could be injected with harmful toxins. To get this blood, the U.S. has been taking about 500,000 horseshoe crabs each year from the East Coast when they're spawning and sending them to labs like the Charles River Lab right here in Charleston. They're hooked up to a needle and 30% of their blood is extracted. Afterwards, most of the crabs are returned to the oceans where they came from, but 15% of the crabs die due to the process, and many are sold to the fishing industry to use as bait for eel and conch fisheries. The significant time out of water and the stress of the process is damaging to the crabs, and conservation groups estimate that 15 to 30% of released crabs die. For the crabs that survive, it's been observed that their spawning behavior changes, and of the 500,000 crabs gathered for blood extraction, approximately 130,000 are estimated to be killed. In addition, horseshoe crabs are also dealing with habitat loss, coastal development, and climate change. The IUCN Red List has them listed as vulnerable to extinction. This is not only problematic for the crabs themselves, but also for the many birds and organisms that rely on them for food. Sea turtles, sharks, and gulls all eat adult horseshoe crabs for prey, and shorebirds like the red knot, which is near threatened and makes an annual migration of 9,800 miles from South America to the Arctic, relies on horseshoe crab eggs as their feasts midway. So, what can you do? Well, first of all, the good news is that there's a synthetic alternative to the LAL test called the RFC test that's being implemented by a small number of pharmaceuticals. Using this synthetic substance saves an estimated 100,000 horseshoe crabs a year. We can use our voices to urge biomedical and pharmaceutical industries to make the switch to RFC. Also, help horseshoe crabs by flipping them over if you see them upside down on the beach, or moving them closer to the water if you find them stranded in the sand after high tide. They might just be exhausted and need an extra boost. Always make sure that if you move a horseshoe crab, you grab it by the edges of the prosoma, the head, and never the tail. If the crab is hanging out by the water and is slightly buried, it might be a female nesting, so make sure to leave her alone. Lastly, visit them in the Nature Center at Dewey's Island. They're really, really cute. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video.